The YouTube algorithm has spoken and it has said, Nikki, your fall videos, do another one. And when the YouTube algorithm gods speak to you, you have to listen. So here is another special edition of Autumn Book Recommendations. I'm Nikki the Librarian, and welcome to the Constant Reader channel. My first book today is An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helene Tursten, translated by Marlene DeLargy. Helen is a writer who lives in Sweden. So this is translated to English from Swedish. This is about an old lady. She's about 80 years old. And this very slim book, which you can have read in one sitting, is a bunch of short stories. This old woman has lived in her apartment for about 70 years, rent-free. She's lived there a really long time. And she's happy with it. She likes living alone and she likes living in her apartment. But here's the thing. Don't mess with this old lady. Don't mess with her apartment. Don't mess with her life. Because she will hold a grudge. And she may even murder you. When I read this book, it was, I don't like saying this word, but it was delightful. I liked it. It was fun, but definitely creepy because this woman just had no remorse about, you're bothering me and I'm in my apartment and I can hear you up there. No, you're not going to disturb me while I'm just chilling in my apartment. I'm going to end that. And then she does. It's a great book. It's real quick. And it gives you some autumn-y goodness, you know? So that is an easy, quick read if you're looking for another book for this fall. My next book is The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. This YA standalone book was published in 2012, so you may not have heard of it. And it's a great first line. Today is the first day of November, and of course, that means someone must die. There are these ancient water horses. This is kind of based on a Celtic myth that come up to this isolated island where our main characters live once a year, and they are horses. They are horses that are bigger, stronger, faster, and meaner than anything that these humans are used to. And this island has a tradition that they have these horse races, or the horse race, to race these wild horses. And whoever wins the race, they get a large percentage of the cut, and the winner is set for life. And so this love story, because it's a love story and a horse story, is told between these two orphans that don't really know each other. They just know that they need to be the one to win the race. This book is very atmospheric. It's set on an isolated island that is called Thisbe. I think it's called Thisbe. And it's very moody, and it's very much November. So it's raining a lot. It's cold. It's miserable. Much like Novembers are. Except here, today it's sunny and beautiful and warm. So yeah, it's fiction where November is icky. So The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. She's a great author. You need to look her up and look at her back catalog if you're only used to the things that she's doing currently, because she's been writing winners for, over 10 years. My next book, Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I know everybody's talked about Practical Magic or the series, and I'm going to tell you, Practical Magic's my very favorite book. I read it before she did a whole series. I read it right after I watched the movie, which the movie's good. I love the book. I love the book because it takes 4 main characters, the daughters and the mother and the aunt. We don't talk about the older 2 aunts. No, this is about Sally and Jillian, and then it's Sally's 2 girls, one who happens to be like 16 and the other who is almost ready to turn 13. What I liked so much about it is just, it felt like it was just a very rich characterization of the entire family that I didn't get to see as much of in the other books. And maybe I'm a little biased because it was the first one I read, and then I had to wait like 10 years until the next one came out, but that's okay. I know where I lie in all of that, but I highly recommend it for autumn. Even though Halloween is over, you can read it any time of year, but especially at the dying of the year, this really seems to be an appropriate book. And speaking of witches, my other book, and you see it behind me because I also own a copy of it, is the All Souls Trilogy, Book 1, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I've heard a lot of people say it's Twilight for grown-ups. No, it's so much bigger than Twilight for grown-ups. No, it has some dark academia vibes because it's the Baudelaire library. We go back in time to Elizabethan era, and what's so well written by this author is she's a real life historian. She's a professor at a college in history. The woman knows what she's talking about. So her writing, especially in the second one, but all throughout the series, very well crafted. Lots of world building, but she does it so well and so seamlessly. And yes, there's broody vampires and all of that goodness, but it's a masterpiece. It is like a delicious dark chocolate cake that just leaves you wanting more. And yes, it's another witchy book, especially this first one. It takes place between the autumnal equinox and Halloween, but so it's only like 6 weeks. This book clocks in at like over 300 pages. There's a lot that goes on in these 6 weeks, and you're going to love it. If you haven't read it already, you need to. If you've only watched the series that was on TV, read the book. You're going to get so much more out of it. My last book is by April Pulley Sayre called Full of Fall, and I have to bring a book. This one's from the library. I have to bring it to show you because it's a picture book. It's a picture book for little kids, and picture books, it's all about the pictures. And I'm going to show you just a little spread right here because these photography images and the little simple poem that follows through the entire book are just magical. Look at that. Limbs and layers, leafy lanes, margins, midribs, sunlit veins. Oh, it's great. She has all kinds of books that are seasonal or weather related. I cannot recommend her enough, much like that Brumpeley Hedge story I told you. It's just, you just immerse yourself as quickly as possible into some autumny goodness. And you just hang out there for a minute, and then you come back to reality. So there it is. Those are my 5 fall recommendations, part 2, that the YouTube gods said, you should do another one. And I said, okay. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button and answer the question down below. What is your favorite fall month and why? I'm going to start the ball rolling and say mine is October because September is way too hot and November is way too cold unless you're filming on a day when it's like 65 degrees and sunny outside, which is today. Yeah. And a new video will be dropping every Sunday unless it is a special edition like this video. If you are interested in reading one of these titles or multiple titles, get your copy at your local independent bookstore or your public library. Thank you. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.